Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to another edition of DIY Money.
DIY Money.
All right, we've had some really good questions the last couple of episodes. I really still kind of feel bad for Whitney in the last episode. I don't feel like we really gave her a solution. Kind of gave her a talking to. I don't know. I'm sorry, Whitney. Hopefully you're still listening to us, but I really just think that when you want to achieve these goals and these, even to set yourself up in a better situation, you don't dig a bigger hole to jump out of, I guess, is what I'm trying to say there. Anyways, all right, that was last podcast. Let's move on.
What's going on in your world?
What is going on in my world? Thanksgiving, which this is going to air after Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Looking forward to just a relaxing time at home. Thanksgiving. I did not notice the massive uptick in pricing that everybody's talking about at all.
Yeah, it doesn't seem terrible. And also, I think the turkey shortage that the people talked about, I feel like you can get a turkey. Like I went and got a turkey the other day and no problem.
Yeah, I don't know. We live in a place that I don't know. I mean, Kentucky's not a major metropolitan area where people are scurrying for this, that, and the other. But I don't know. We don't do, I got potatoes from the garden still. We got canned vegetables. I mean, I don't know. We don't.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Well, there's a lot I don't eat anymore. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you don't cheat on Thanksgiving Day? Not really.
Wow.
No, I just have turkey, vegetables, maybe some mashed potatoes.
Okay.
But I cook a mean turkey. A long time ago, 5 or 6 years ago, I found a recipe from a woman on YouTube who cooked it in an oven bag and doused it in and out with spices and seasoning, primarily adobo, which is ridiculously salty, and shoved a bunch of, vegetables in the all the crevices of the turkey, slapped it in a bag and cooked it. It's the juiciest turkey. And I don't care what people say, because I've had people be like, I cooked the juiciest turkey, and I'm like, yeah, juicy. That's why I like dark meat on turkey, because it's hard to mess that up. But most of the time, people cook turkeys, it's dry. I don't care. It's dry.
Absolutely.
I do not cook a dry turkey. It's ridiculously moist.
Oh, I'm sure.
Ridiculous. So good. So that's probably just the turkey in general.
Okay.
I do struggle because I used to make a mean turkey sandwich. Like the next day.
Oh, yeah.
On white bread.
I think it's always,
mayo.
Thanksgiving food is always better the next day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, for sure. How about you? What's going on in your world?
Well, actually, I'm about to go down to Florida to celebrate
Very
Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Obviously, I'll be back by the time this episode goes down. Yeah, hopefully.
Nice. Yeah.
I just want some warm weather. We've gotten down; it's freezing here.
Cold. Yeah,
oh
it's
my
ridiculous.
goodness!
I can't stand it.
I like stuffing. That's my favorite.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't do stuffing. We don't do stuffing. My wife asked me today. She's like, "Do you want stuffing?" I'm like, "Wow, nobody's gonna eat it. Like, I don't do stuffing." Anyways, all right, let's go. We got a question from Chelsea today. Chelsea, what do you got?
My name is Chelsea, and I'm calling from North Carolina. I am 31 years old. I have a 401k, a 403b, a Roth IRA, a brokerage account, and a savings account. What I'm trying to figure out is it better for me to take my money that's in my savings account and put it into my brokerage account, leaving enough for an emergency fund where I have a better chance of receiving a better rate of return? Thank you.
Okay, this is a simple question. I do have a couple of follow-ups, though, because Chelsea mentioned having a 401k and a 403b. Normally, that is not possible because 403b is a traditional retirement plan that is linked to some sort of nonprofit entity. That might be a school or university, or that could be an actual nonprofit 501c3. A 401k is typically linked to a for-profit business. Most of the time, you are employed by one or the other, and therefore you don't have two. So I would tell Chelsea that if that's the case, maybe she was at a nonprofit employer, had a 403b, and now she's with a for-profit 401k, is to look at combining the two wherever she is at to see if they will accept that. That way, that will eliminate one of the two accounts. Now, it's not impossible, however, to have both. You know how I know that? I have both. I'm employed by the University of Kentucky as an adjunct professor, and what they pay me, I put into a 403b. And then through Jewel Financial, I have a 401k. Now, I cannot, however, max out both. I have to make sure that I'm not putting more than the annual amount that you can put into a retirement account. So every year around this time, I have to look and say, okay, how much have I put in to the university plan? How much have I put in here? And if I have to adjust one, I do that. The minute, however, I'm not working at the university, for example, I would roll that into our company 401k.
Right.
So that's the first thing, and I would encourage her to look at that. But maybe she's employed by both and doing the same thing I'm doing. That's not out of the question. She mentioned having a Roth IRA. Bravo, she has extra savings. She's doing that, a brokerage, and a savings account. Specifically, her question was, hey, after I have, this is the way I read the question, after I have emergency fund, and she assumingly has fast cash, should I put more savings into the brokerage? Yes, that's why you have it. So anytime you have met your emergency fund, you already have your fast cash, unless, and this is a caveat, unless that money is specifically being saved for a goal, and in my opinion, this is my opinion, that is trying to be achieved in less than 5 years. So for example, you're like, well, that's actually a car fund. Daniel has all these different kind of envelope system type methodologies. He's saving for a car, he's saving for a house, he's saving for this, he's saving for that. That's fine. Anytime that something like that is being saved for less than 5 years, no, I would not invest it. But if this is just extra savings above and beyond emergency fund, not designated for one of these things, these type of purchases, or a purchase after 5 years, yes, I would invest it into a brokerage account, keeping it very simple, using index funds, etc.
Yep.
So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I think if you have money in a savings account, you're debating putting that into investments. If you say, okay, I have this emergency fund, that's kind of what I've calculated, I'm going to move the rest out, and you're uncomfortable with that, you're uncomfortable with the amount you just have in cash in your savings account, you may want to reevaluate how much you have in your emergency fund. Because we normally say 3 to 6 months emergency fund, but it's different for everyone. If you have a family, whoever you may have, you want to make sure that you are accounting for how much you feel comfortable with having just in savings and in cash.
That's a great point, because many people have different sort of levels. There are people who say, hey, I got to have 100K in cash. That's just their thing.
Right.
Doesn't correlate with 3 months, 6 months, could be a year, whatever. But that's their thing. So that's a very good point, Logan. I'm glad you brought that up. But the reality is, again, you should be then investing and looking for a greater rate of return. However, that being said, let's say that you're very risk averse. You don't want to take additional risk. You all just did a podcast and brought up the fact that the I bond is now paying 7%.
Yeah.
So you could take the excess amount. You could open an account at treasurydirect.com, right?
Yeah, yep.
So you're going right to the United States government. You could be, quote, keeping that in a savings account.
Up to $10,000.
Up to $10,000 and getting 7%, which, by the way, this year I'm finally going to do. I'm going to go through the dumb paperwork to get that thing opened and put money in for my wife and I.
Then once you do it once, it's much easier to start doing it in future years. It's just,
in theory, have you done it?
No, I haven't done it.
So
In theory.
Yeah, so the government, nothing the government does is simple, but we'll see. Anyway, so great question, but yes, over and above, in my opinion, it's investing. If that's something you're uncomfortable with, as Logan said, reevaluate the amount that's in your emergency fund. Great question, Chelsea. Thanks so much for sending that in. We'll send you a $25 Amazon gift card. And remember, friends, the secret to wealth is pretty simple. Live on less than you make, invest the rest, do so for a very long time. Make it a great one.